Hey everyone, how's each and every one of you are doing on this Tuesday evening? I hope that each of you are having a good week and staying hydrated from the heat and enjoying the summer days. The month of July is almost done. Doesn't seem like it, but it has went by fast. I think this is, in no laughing matter, this is quick. So let's hope that everyone is enjoying the summer break and be safe wherever you're at. All right, folks, here we go. Remember from last week, from week 5, we had the graphing part and the slight introduction to substitution method. Well, this on week 6 from the Precalculus class, we have continuation from the substitution method, but also I forgot. I think it's elimination as well. I'm not too sure, but it's continuation of the substitution and elimination methods. Here's a handout to give all of you a chance to look over on your own. On one side, it has an example of how the substitution method is worked out and the steps that you're able to use. Same thing with the elimination method. So this will be posted in addition to the lecture videos and vice versa. So no need to worry. So on that note, let's begin with the modified version of the substitution method. I select the problems 1, 3, 12, and 20. The 1 and 3 has something in common. All of them has something in common. Both problems. Two numbers have the same situation, same problems. The other one you have to do a little bit more work and digging on this. So don't worry, I will go back to the original, okay? Let's begin. All right, I will explain this very carefully. Number 1, we have y equals 6x minus 11. The bottom equation, negative 2 minus 3x equals negative 7. As you can see here, the y is given to us already. That eliminates some of the work. So by looking at the second problem, we could substitute the 6x minus 11 into y in the second part. So you can see right here. All right. Then once that's been substituted, then you have to distribute to get rid of the parentheses. In this case, we have a negative 2x minus negative 18 plus 33 in this part and equals negative 7. So far, so good. All right. Then once that has been taken care of the parentheses, the next thing we need to do is to combine like terms. In this instance, we have a negative 2 minus negative 18x. That gives us a negative 20x plus 33 equals a negative 7. Once that has been, once that step been done, then we can do the arithmetic by itself. And then in this case, we had to subtract 33 to both sides of the equation, crossing out the 33s on the left side of the equation, bringing down the negative 20x down equals negative 7 minus 33. That gives us 40, negative 40, mind to add. And that step, then you have to divide negative 20 to both sides of the equation, crossing out the 20s on the left side of the equation, bringing down the x, and then negative 40 divided by negative 20. A negative times a negative equals a positive. There we have positive 2. Before I go any further, any questions on how I got to this part? Important note, you are more than welcome to stop the video at any time to see where you're at. So that way you'll have an idea where you need to continue And also these notes will be added to the lecture notes. So don't need to worry about missing a step. You have those lecture notes to look over and watch the video on your own. All right. Then once we find the variable of x, the x equals 2, then we can substitute this to any of these two equations. I prefer to use the first one because it has the y has been ready to be figured out. So I'll go down here. We have y equals 6, positive 2 in place of x, minus 11. Then we have 6 times 2, that gives us 12, minus 11, that gives us 1. Y equals 1. These two are perfect so far, and will give us a check to see everything is, to make sure it is correct on both sides. So I'm going to use one of the equations. I use the first one. We have 1 equals, question mark or equals 6 times 2 minus 11. Of course, the 1 will be left alone on the left side. I'm sorry about that. My little voice is a little groggy, but it's okay. Then we have question mark equals. Then 6 times 2 is 12, minus 11 is 1. Is this correct? Yes. So our final answer is x equals 2, y equals 1. So be that may, like after this, any questions on how I got the step? That wasn't too bad, right? But the variation, you see how the work is being done step by step. It's going to help when you do the final solution and double check to see those two answers, the two coordinates, work with these two equations. If it works, then you've done the work correctly. All right, let's go to number 3. Same scenario like for the previous problem. Y equals a negative 3x plus 5 instead of the positive from the previous problem. Then the second part is 5x minus 4y equals negative 3. You see the substitution for this in place of the second part for y. So this is how it looks like. Then once the y has been substituted, you distribute what's inside from the outside to the parentheses to get rid of the parentheses. And after it's been done, 5x plus 12x minus 20 equals negative 3. Then, after that been cleared, then you do the combined like terms, which is 5x plus 12x equals 17x, minus 20 equals negative 3. So far, so good on these steps? Okay. Then you do the arithmetic. In this case, in order to get this across to another, we had to do the opposite. In this case, we had to add 20 to both sides of the equation, eliminate the 20s on the left side of the equation, bringing down to 17x equals was a negative 3 plus 20. 20 is a bit bigger, so it'll be 17. Then once you have this part, you divide 17 to both sides of the equation, crossing out the 17th, bringing down to x. Then 17 divided by 17, that gives us 1. All right, we figure out x. Then we can use what's on whatever for the number for x to substitute for either of these two equations. I used the first one like the last time. So we have y equals negative 3, 1 in place of x plus 5. Then we have a negative 3 times 1 to give us a negative 3 plus 5. 5 is bigger, so the number y equals 2. In order to make sure that you have those two numbers correct, double check, use any of these two to check out if you got the answer. I used the first one with the y. So we have a 2 question mark equals negative 3 times 1 plus 5. Same thing with 2, leave it alone. Question mark equals 3 times, negative 3 times 1 is negative 3 plus 5. 5 is bigger than 3, so the answer will be a 2. Does it match? Yes. Our final answer is x equals 1, y equals 2. There we go, folks. That's how you do the substitution method using the y's. On that note, any more questions? All right. All right, let's go to the 12 and 20. 12 is a little bit different than the first two problems. There's no what. So we had to figure out which is for, we had to figure out for either the x or the y. So I have this problem. We have a negative 3 minus 8y equals 20 for the first equation. The second equation, negative 5 plus y equals 19. In order to get the y in place, I use the second equation to figure out to get y by itself. So we have negative 5 plus y equals 19. To do the opposite from this point is instead of negative 5, we add 5x to both sides, actually. Instead of negative 5, I'm sorry, negative 5x, we add 5x to both sides. Cross out the 5x's on the left side, bringing down the y, equals, put the x in front, 5x plus 19. So far, so good on this step. Okay. Then we can do is this. Substitute what's for y to any of these two equations. Since I worked on this the second one, I'm going to work with first one. So move it over just a bit. I will have a negative 3x minus 8. Put what's in place for y equals 20. Once that has been substituted, then I distribute what's inside the parentheses to clear it out completely. After that end result, we have a negative 3 minus 40x minus 152 equals 20. So far, so good on this step. All right. Then the next step, of course, we could do the combine like terms. In this instance, we have a negative 3 minus 40, negative 3x minus 40x to get a negative 43x minus 152 equals 20. Then we're going to do to get 152 to other side of the equal sign. Instead of negative, it would be a positive, so we add 152 to both sides of the equation. Cross out the 152s on the left side, bringing down the negative 43x down, equals 20 plus 152 to give us 172. Then, in order to get x by itself, you have to divide by negative 43 to both sides, crossing out the negative 43, bringing down the x. 172 divided by negative 43, that gives us a negative 4. So far on, any questions on how we get to the x, how we figure out the x? Okay. Then once the x has been figured out, then we could substitute this for x to any of these two equations. It's your choice, but I figure I'm going to try the second equation. So what I did is we have a negative 5, negative 4 in place of x plus y equals 19. Then we have a negative 5 times a negative 4 that gives us a positive 20 plus y equals 19. Then in order to get 20 across the other side, the equal sign, instead of this, the opposite will be subtract 20 to both sides, Cross out the 20s on the other side, bringing down the y. Then we have a 19 minus 20 that gives us a negative 1. We have x and y. Want to make sure it works out. Let's use one of the original problems, which I used the second one. And then we have a negative 5 in parentheses, negative 4 minus 1, question mark, equals 19. Then I did a negative 5 times a negative 4 to give us 20 minus 1 equals 19. Does it match? Yes. Well, our final answer is a negative 4 and negative 1. So that wasn't too bad, right? This is a little bit longer, but you have to figure out what is for x or y first, then you proceed further. Whatever step, whatever variable you want to use first, is up to you. As long as it matches, then you're on the right track. So, any more questions on number 12? All right. And we go into number 20. I had trouble with number 20 because the previous one I had was a little bit odd because it had a fraction. So, I'll explain why. You see what it is in a few seconds, how to figure this part out. So we have a negative 2 minus y equals negative 9. 5x minus 2y equals 18. In order to get y by itself, I use the first equation. So we have a negative 2 minus y equals negative 9. In order to get 2x to the other side, I had to do the opposite. Instead of the negative 2x, I had 2x to both sides of the equation, bringing cross out the 2x's on the left side, bringing down the negative y equals 2x minus 9. I think I remember this part. Okay, before I go further, any questions on on what we have right now in this here? Okay, no questions. Let's proceed. You cannot have a negative y. I remember my algebra teacher in high school told me this. Actually, in middle school as well, 8th grade, or my junior high and high school, but especially my 8th grade and my 9th grade year. They've been very, very technical. There's a reason why you can't have negative y. So in order to do this, you have to put a negative 1, divide by a negative 1 to both sides of the equation. That will eliminate this, and you put the y will be positive. Then we have a negative 2 divided by a negative 1. There will be a negative 2x. And then a negative times a negative equals a positive. When you divide, 9 divided by 1 is 9. So far on the y, we just identify the y. Okay. Once you figure out the y, then you can use this to put in place in any of these two equations. I use the second equation. So we have 5x minus 2, that negative 2x plus 9 inside the parentheses equals 18. Once that has been in place, then you can distribute what's outside, what's on the outside. You multiply what's inside the parentheses to clear it out completely. Then what's left is 5x plus 4x minus 18 equals 18. Any questions on this part? All right. Then we do the combine like terms. In this case, we have 5x plus 4x. That gives us 9x minus 18 equals 18. Then we do the basic arithmetic. Then we have, instead of a negative 18, we have positive. We add 18 to both sides of the equation. Cross out the 18s. Bringing down the 9x equals, what's 18 plus 18 equals 36. Once you have 9x equals 36, you divide 9 to both sides of the equation. Cross out the 9s, bringing down the x. And then 36 divided by 9, that gives us 4. Now we find the variable x. So far, so good, right? All right. Then, whatever you want to use, the x equals 4, you can use it in any of the original equations. I would prefer to use the first one. I use this one, actually. But it's less problems, but you can see, double check your work. So I use the top equation. We have a negative 2, the 4 in place of x, minus y equals 9. Negative 2 times 4 to give us a negative 8 minus y equals negative 9. And then in order to get 8 across, we had to do the opposite. We have a plus 8 to both sides. Cross out the 8 on the left side. We have a negative y equals negative 9 plus 8. And it gives us a negative 1. Like I said in the previous problem, in the previous part, you cannot have a negative y. So in order to get negative y, we had to divide by a negative 1 to both sides of the equation. That will eliminate those and bring on the positive y. We have a negative 1 divided by negative 1. It gives a positive 1. So far, so good on that. Okay. Then you could check the answer yourself. Let me see. I'm going to use my calculator for this. I'm going to use... All right, well, let me see. I hope you can see it. So I'm going to use the first equation. I put it in place of x. Negative 2, parentheses 4, minus 1. You see that right here on the screen? Negative 9. Does this answer match with the first one? Yes. So that is our final answer for number 20. X equals 4 and y equals 1. So any more questions on number 20 or any of the original problems? Previous problems, I'm sorry. Alright, there you have it. We have done with the modified version. And I hope I answered any of your questions. And I will do a second video on elimination. So give me a moment or two. Until then, I'll talk to you in a little bit. Thank you.